Actually, Donaldtrump has 641 years in prison, 70% clickbait. Yes, this is possible.
If only someone was stupid enough to be on a recorded phone call asking specifically the Secretary of State that he needs 11,780 votes in the state of Georgia. Anyway, now let's get Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia grand jury to hear witness testimony this week in the 2020 election probe. The fourth is coming down, folks. Fani Willis is finally doing something that is good with RICO statutes in the state of Georgia that isn't about arresting any and every rapper that has ever rapped about, like, killing someone. Let's take a look.
Georgia, where former President Donald Trump could face another indictment as soon as this week. Prosecutors in Fulton County are wrapping up their investigation into interference there by Trump and his allies in 2020. Nicole Killian is outside the courthouse in Atlanta with more on what to expect. Nicole, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is expected to begin presenting her case as soon as today to a grand jury, which will face the big decision of whether to indict the former president.
This morning, there's an increased security presence outside the Fulton County Courthouse ahead of a potential charging decision this week. District Attorney Fani Willis says she's ready to go.
That if someone broke the law in Fulton County, Georgia, that I have a duty to prosecute.
CBS News has learned several witnesses have been subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury, including former Georgia Republican Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, who plans to testify Tuesday. The investigation centers on a January 2nd, 2021 phone call by then-President Donald Trump to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, seeking to potentially overturn the 2020 election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
On his
heightened law enforcement and media presence remains in place outside of Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, as another grand jury indictment may be announced against former President Donald Trump. All media and cops right now. I don't even think that there will be that many protesters, but who knows? Now, this one is my favorite. This one is my favorite for a couple different reasons. Number one, we've known about it for a very long time. Number two, it's yet another situation where Donald Trump is like doing something criminal in the most like flagrant, obvious way possible, where he gives you the exact number, 11,780, a number that is now burned into the back of my brain. In his words, one more than we need. Like, there is a very different reality where, like, if Trump is ballparking numbers, like, you could at least make an argument that, like, he's just, saying something exaggerated, right? He's just, it's just a term of phrase or something like that. The fact that he's, like, mentioning the very specific number and not, like, 12,000 is incredible because it works against him. Now, those are some of my favorite reasons why I love this case. Some of my other favorite reasons for why I love this case, because it's very open and shut, unlike the other ones, or unlike the first state case. Now, this is the fourth one. There are three court cases so far. One is a local Manhattan district judge, which means it's a state prosecution, okay? The second one is a federal prosecution. The third one is also a federal prosecution. So technically, Donald Trump could actually pardon himself. I mean, we're entering, like, speculative legal theory here because it's never happened, and will he be able to do that? I think he would, because he can still run from jail. He can still literally go to prison and become president. That part is definitely set in stone, okay? But will he be able to literally pardon himself for federal crimes? Well, yes, he can. However, a president can't pardon themselves for state crimes, which means for the Manhattan one, whichever way it goes, doesn't really matter. It's a misdemeanor, slap on the wrist anyway. So that one is whatever. But for the Georgia situation, Donald Trump, in order to get a pardon in Georgia, would have to go to Brian Kemp, who he fucking despises. The only way for Donald Trump to get a pardon in the state of Georgia, if he was actually arrested in the state of Georgia and was thrown in jail and, like, somehow still magically won the election, he would literally have to go to Brian Kemp, who, for this criminal case, Brian Kemp and his refusal, and other people underneath Brian Kemp's refusal to work with Donald Trump, is why Trump thinks he lost the election. This court case is like literally dependent on him not working with Brian Kemp. That's why it's there. Kemp can't solely pardon. It's a board that does it in Georgia. Oh, the Georgia governor can't pardon. There's a 5-person parole and pardon power with that panel. There's no pardon power. Fuck, that ruins everything. I thought that it was another one of these, like, I'm gonna fucking pardon states. God damn it. I mean, it's still funny. Last but not least, because this will most likely be televised. Unless you guys want to hurt my feelings on that one too. But I'm sure they will pardon him if he won. It's just like that. I think it would be really funny if there was a world where Brian Kemp was petitioning against Donald Trump being pardoned in the state of Georgia as the governor, with a tremendous amount of influence over his own state. Especially because Donald Trump has purposefully tried to run a candidate against Brian Kemp, and that candidate fucking lost. It's not like Donald Trump has been a fan of Brian Kemp at all for, like, the past couple of years now. Like, he has
It's
open
been
contempt
already
for hate
lost.
crimes. So this in Georgia. On the left, former President Trump intimidates the witness in Georgia case. On the right, Georgia law stating that to release a person on bail, the judge will have to find the defendant poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses. Note, that is a presumption against release. Yeah, okay, let me explain something. It's not like Donald Trump's going to personally fucking intimidate a witness. He just shouldn't be able to tweet. Dude, they are not going to keep him in prison.
Social platform Sunday, Trump continued calling it a perfect phone call.
We love Iowa.
At the Iowa State Fair, where the former president and supporters appeared to troll Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in the air and on the ground, he was peppered with questions about a possible fourth indictment.
Yes, we did nothing wrong. We don't ever take a seat. Yes, sir. We don't take lead.
Earlier this year, a special purpose grand jury
Nothing
stated
wrong.
perjury was
Nice.
committed by several individuals and recommended the DA seek appropriate indictments.
And you think there could be multiple indictments?
I think there'll be multiple defendants indicted.
Michael Moore is a former U.S. attorney and believes Willis could go further with racketeering charges against the former president and his allies.
It really allows her to talk about, as a prosecutor, everybody's dirty laundry and everybody's dirty conduct, and not just the dirty laundry maybe that the former president may have in his hamper right now.
What is that
If
accent?
you're a lawyer with that accent, you contractually are obligated to say, well, I'm no big city lawyer now. Like, I'm sorry. I don't make the rules except for that rule I just made up. You have to do it. Like, I know, first of all, Atlanta is a big city. I know. But when you have an accent like that, you know, you have to say that. Well, I ain't no big city lawyer. Ho, ho, ho. This seems like a miscarriage of justice. I do declare. Here he is. Yeah, cameras are allowed in the court. Yes, it's a state court. Yes, the
Impersonating
judge says
him.
cameras will be allowed in court. Trump will indict. I am going to nut, dude. I need to pay my respects to the big, beautiful state of Georgia. I'm going to be honest with you. I might have to go down there, okay? I feel like it's giving me so much. Georgia will give us a mugshot, and Georgia will give us a fully televised court proceeding. Oh, also, this document outlining charges against Donald Trump was briefly published and then removed by the Fulton County GA District Attorney's Office, according to Reuters. I think they, like, accidentally leaked it or something. Is this real or is this fake, chat? Why do some courts allow cameras? A lot of courts allow cameras. What do you mean? It's actually rare that it's rare when courts don't allow cameras. The ones that don't, oh, it is real. Georgia court website briefly publishes and removes documents about potential Trump charges. What the fuck? It's real. Yo! Trump's lawyer said the episode was not a simple administrative mistake. Let's take a look. Why is his date of birth crossed out? That's weird. Charges: Trump, Donald John. Description: violation of Georgia RICO, Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. Level: serious felony. 5 charges of solicitation of a violation of oath by public officer, also a felony. 9 charges of conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, also a felony. 11 charges of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, also a felony. 13 charges of conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. 15 charges of conspiracy to commit filing false documents.
Oh, that is a
17
lot,
charges of
huh?
conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. 19 charges of conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. 27 charges of filing false documents, which is also a felony. 28 charges of solicitation of violation of oath by public officer. 29 charges as charges for false statements and writings. Oh, okay, the numbers are page numbers. Okay, I was going to say, what the fuck? It seems like insane amounts of times that he's done it. Like, how do you do this 38
It's a
times?
base number, okay.
I
Really wrong data time.
This is fake. The DA came out and said it's fake. What? Why is Reuters covering it like as though it's real? Oh, the Reuters report that those charges were filed is inaccurate. Beyond that, we cannot comment. Beyond that, we cannot comment. Oh, okay. It is not real. It's not fake. It was found on the DA website. Okay. There's 2 different kinds of fake here. Fake as in some random person published this, or fake as
So
in they
there
accidentally
again?
published it, but it's not. The information is inaccurate.
I don't know
So
what's
that
real
would imply
anymore.
that a lot of these charges probably are accurate. There most likely is additional charges or something that is not fully accurate in this. However, it did come from the DA's office, according to Reuters. It did come from the Fulton County, Georgia court website, which briefly posted the document on Monday listing several criminal charges against former U.S. President Donald Trump that appeared related to his attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state. Before taking the document down without explanation, it's probably not finalized, which is part of the reason why they said, oh, well, this is not accurate. The Reuters report that those charges were filed is inaccurate. Beyond that, we cannot comment. They said grand jury is still taking witnesses, so Doc was released early. Update on MSNBC, the Fulton County grand jury is still hearing from witness number 5. They were hearing from witness number 5 more than 2 hours ago. That's 5 out of the expected 10 witnesses. This was at 2:15, 30 minutes ago today. So they are still doing the grand jury hearings, which means that, of course, they cannot file fucking charges before that. But it turns out it's not fake. It's just inaccurate. Remember, understand. That's an important distinction. Fake would imply that, like, they didn't post it, but they did actually post it. They did actually publish it and then deleted it.
The president is charged and convicted here in Fulton County, and he's reelected. He could not pardon himself since this would be a state case rather than a federal one.
All right, Nicole, Killian, thank you very
And
much.
this is real then, huh?
Willis is expected to call multiple witnesses as she wraps up her 2020 election interference case and seeks charges against possibly more than a dozen people. What's key to understand this morning? The nature of this case and the potential legal risks for Donald Trump this time around, and how that might be different than his last 3 indictments because these are state charges in part. CNN's Sarah Marie is live outside the courthouse. Sarah, all this activity that's happening inside.
I will be doing Aquawatch for this. He has glazed up Fannie Willis so fucking hard. When she was absolutely eviscerating YSL and Young Thug as a criminal organization is he slapped them with the fucking fattest RICO charge of all time. DJ Academics routinely hyped her up to me in conversations. If he turns around and fucking shits on Fani Willis now to defend Donald Trump, that's white supremacy. I'm sorry, 100%, that's white supremacy. There is no other way to talk about the situation. If you like Donald Trump and you think Fani Willis is doing a great job arresting and hitting RICO charges on YSL in its entirety, but then turn around and shit on Fani Willis and think it's messed up that you are prosecuting Donald Trump for his RICO, hitting Donald Trump and his entire operation with a RICO, if you have an issue with that, that's just white supremacy. Sorry. I haven't seen his statements on Fani Willis as of late.
Making conclusions are
from him that defends Donald Trump in this situation.
Okay.
I'm sorry. White supremacy.
Donald Trump is posting brand new attacks against someone who was one of the witnesses. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously what's going on in the courtroom today, in the courthouse today, is a grand jury presentation, and that's being done under seal. But the grand jury will be beginning to hear this case against Donald Trump and his allies today. As you pointed out, we confirmed that there's one witness who is there to testify today. Our colleagues at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution have spotted 2 other potential witnesses testifying today. And even though Donald Trump has insisted he did nothing wrong around his efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia, he has been lashing out on his social media platform, including against one of the witnesses who's expected to testify before this grand jury tomorrow, former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan. Donald Trump took to his social media account to say he's reading reports that the failed Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Jeff Duncan, will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. Trump goes on to say he shouldn't, and then he goes on to launch a number of other attacks against Duncan. Again, this grand jury presentation is expected to take up to 2 days, although, of course, I
don't get it. What's wrong? He had a perfect phone call, and now that's a perfect threat. A perfect phone call followed by a perfect tweet or truth or whatever the fuck they call it. What's the problem? It's so funny. Like, he can't stop further incriminating himself. There's literally another civil suit launched against him after he lost a former defamation suit. He continued to defame that lady in New York on a CNN town hall. Like, it was right after the fucking defamation suit awarded, what was her name? Shit, I'm forgetting now. E. Jean Carroll. Thank you, Chatter. E. Jean Carroll successfully sued Trump for defamation. And I think it was, a $5 million award? A day later, Trump is on a CNN town hall defaming her in the exact same capacity. It's awesome. He just can't stop himself. He's just like, I don't give a fuck.
We're going to be on high alert for any potential indictment announcements today or tomorrow. And this is a sprawling case. This has been a 2.5-year investigation that was set off when Donald Trump made a phone call to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and pressed him to find the votes for Trump to win the state of Georgia. But it's gone on to include the fake elector scheme. It's gone on to include a harassment campaign against election workers, as well as a voting systems breach in Royal Coffee County, Georgia. Sarah.
All right, Sarah Murray, thank you for all of that. Appreciate it. John?
And just a reminder, Sarah, these were the election results in Georgia in 2020. This was the margin between the two candidates.
Wait, was it 11,799? Stop. Don't tell me it was 11,799. Why do I know that number? Why does that number, it's such a specific number. Why am I remembering that? Wait, what's one more from 11,779? What is a number that's one more than 11,779 votes? Oh, that's right, 11,780 votes. If only someone was stupid enough. If only someone was stupid enough to be on a fucking recorded phone call asking specifically the Secretary of State that he needs 11,780 votes in the state of Georgia, and then followed it up by just one more than we have right now, implying that you already understand how many votes that you do have. If only there was a perfectly captured moment in time that we all publicly knew about. Like, someone, Little Bear, please find the first time I heard this being covered in the news. I believe it was around January 6th, if not literally on January 6th, where I lost my mind. We have known about this for years. One of the most shocking parts about this was that it wasn't, like, immediately, in my opinion, criminally prosecuted. And I thought I was wrong, I guess. When I heard this for the very first time, I lost my mind. Little Bear, the question was, when is the first time I heard the perfect phone call? I believe it was literally on January 6th, if not around that time, where I lost my mind. The first time I heard Donald Trump describe to Brad Roethlisberger that he needs 11,780 votes in his perfect phone call.
And that was an interesting one. I don't know much about the Donald Trump charges and all this stuff, so I wasn't able to provide much input. Let's be entertaining again. This is a decent video. I guess the video to announce this video.